A daughter-in-law who can't even care for her own mother-in-law doesn't deserve to be in this family. Those were the last words my sister-in-law, Vanessa, said to me before she handed me a cardboard box with my things. My husband Michael stood behind her, silent, arms crossed. He wouldn't even look at me. His mother, Patricia, sat in her wheelchair in the corner of the living room we'd shared for 6 years, staring at nothing. She didn't know who I was anymore. But somehow, in their eyes, that was still my fault. My name is Rebecca, and 5 years ago, I lost everything because I refused to quit my job to become a full-time caregiver. 5 years ago, they told me I was selfish, cold-hearted, and unfit to carry the family name. 5 years ago, I walked out of that house with $247 in my checking account and a suitcase that didn't even close properly. Let me back up. I met Michael when I was 33. He was a project manager at a construction firm, charming in that easy way some men have, like the world owed them kindness and usually delivered. His family had money, not billionaire money, but the kind that comes from 3 generations of careful investing and a grandfather who'd built a small real estate empire in the suburbs of Connecticut. They had a beautiful colonial house in Westport with a circular driveway, the kind of place where you wiped your feet twice before entering. When we got married, I was working as a dental hygienist at a practice in Stamford. I loved my job. I loved the patients, the routine, the feeling that I was helping people feel better about themselves when they smiled. Michael's mother, Patricia, had been kind to me at first, in that distant way wealthy older women sometimes are with their sons' wives. She'd give me advice about the family china patterns and which charities were appropriate for young women of our standing. I nodded and smiled and tried to fit in. The prenup should have been my first warning. Michael presented it 3 weeks before the wedding, apologetic but firm. "It's just family policy," he said. "Everyone signs one. It's not personal." The document was 12 pages long. In summary, anything I brought into the marriage stayed mine. Anything acquired during the marriage belonged to the family trust. And if we divorced, I'd get a small settlement, barely enough to cover a year's rent. I signed it because I loved him, because I thought love was enough, because I was 33 and tired of dating and he seemed like a good man. For the first 4 years we were happy. Or I thought we were. We lived in a condo the family owned. I kept working. We had dinner with his family every Sunday. Patricia would ask when we were having children, and I'd smile and say someday, and she'd purse her lips but let it go. Michael traveled a lot for work. I built relationships with my patients, took continuing education courses, dreamed about maybe opening my own practice one day. Then Patricia got sick. It started small. She'd forget where she put her keys. She'd call Michael by his father's name. His father had been dead for 8 years. Michael's sister Vanessa noticed first. She lived 20 minutes away in Darien with her hedge fund husband and 2 perfect children. "Mom's getting worse," she told us over Sunday dinner. "We need to think about care options." Care options quickly became Rebecca needs to step up. I was the daughter-in-law. I didn't have children yet. My job was, in Vanessa's words, flexible. Couldn't I adjust my schedule? Couldn't I work part-time? Patricia needed family around her, not strangers. I tried. God, I tried. I cut my hours to 30 a week. I'd rush from the dental office to Patricia's house, help her with lunch, make sure she took her medications, try to engage her in conversation even as she drifted further away. Some days she knew me. Some days she called me by her dead sister's name. Some days she didn't speak at all. But it wasn't enough. It was never enough. "She needs full-time care," Vanessa said 6 months in. We were sitting in Patricia's living room, Michael beside me on the couch, his brother James on the other side, Vanessa standing like she was presenting a case to a jury. "The doctor said consistency is important. She can't be alone during the day." "I'm doing everything I can," I said. "I'm there every day after work. I come on my lunch breaks when I can." "That's not the point," James said. He was the youngest, 35, worked in finance, talked about disruption and optimization like they were virtues. "Mom needs someone there all day. You're the obvious choice." "I have a career," I said. "I can't just quit my job." The room went cold. "Can't?" Vanessa's voice could have cut glass. "Or won't?" Michael touched my hand. "Becca, maybe we should consider it. Just for a year or 2, until we figure out a long-term solution. My income can support us." "Your income goes into the family trust," I said quietly. "I'd have nothing of my own." You'd have us, he said. You'd have the family. But I saw it in his eyes. He'd already decided. They'd all already decided. I said no. I said I'd help find a good home care nurse. I'd contribute money. I'd still visit every day. But I wouldn't quit my job. I'd worked too hard, too long, to give it all up. 3 weeks later, Patricia fell. I got the call at work. She'd gotten up in the middle of the night, confused, looking for a bathroom that hadn't existed in the house since a renovation in the 90s. She'd fallen down 4 stairs. Broken hip, concussion. By the time I got to the hospital, the family was already there. A wall of judgment in the waiting room. Where were you? Vanessa asked. I was at home. Asleep. It was 2 in the morning. You should have been there. She has an aide overnight. We hired someone. An aide who was asleep when she fell. A stranger who didn't know Mom well enough to anticipate her patterns. Vanessa stepped closer. This is what happens when you prioritize yourself over family, Rebecca. Patricia recovered, physically. But the fall seemed to accelerate everything else. The dementia got worse. She stopped recognizing any of us. She needed round-the-clock care, the kind that cost $15,000 a month. The family meeting happened on a Tuesday. They sat me down in the formal dining room. Michael, Vanessa, James, even Vanessa's husband Preston. We've made a decision, Vanessa said. Mom is moving in with Michael. You two have the space. And you're going to provide her care. We can't afford a full-time nurse, I said. You'll do it, James said. You have medical training. I'm a dental hygienist, not a nurse. And I work full-time. Not anymore. Vanessa slid a folder across the table. We've drafted a care plan. Mom moves into your guest room. You manage her medications, her meals, her hygiene. We'll rotate visits on weekends. I have a job. Vanessa said. This is more important. I looked at Michael. You agree with this? He wouldn't meet my eyes. She's my mother, Becca. And I'm your wife. Then act like it. His voice was quiet, but the words landed like a slap. Act like you're part of this family. I stood up. I am part of this family. But I'm not giving up my entire life. Then maybe you shouldn't be part of this family at all. Vanessa's voice was ice. A daughter-in-law who can't even care for her own mother-in-law doesn't deserve to be in this family. I looked around the table. James nodded. Preston looked at his phone. Michael stared at his hands. Fine, I said. I'll help find professional care. I'll visit. I'll contribute financially. But I'm not quitting my job. 2 weeks later, Michael filed for divorce. The prenup was airtight. I got nothing. The condo belonged to the family trust. The car was in Michael's name. Our savings account, the one I'd contributed to for 6 years, was considered joint marital assets that defaulted to the family trust upon dissolution. I walked out with my clothes, my books, and $247 in my personal checking account. Michael's lawyer, a man who smelled like expensive cologne and disappointment, handed me the final papers in a conference room with windows overlooking Long Island Sound. You're fortunate, the family is being generous, he said. They could have contested the small personal items. I signed the papers. My hand shook. I called my sister in Ohio. Can I stay with you for a while? I'm sorry, Becca, but Steve just lost his job. We can't take on another person right now. Maybe in a few months. I called my college roommate in Boston. I'm going through some stuff. Any chance I could crash on your couch? Oh, honey. I wish, but we just had the baby and the apartment is so small. Maybe check some Airbnbs. I checked into a Motel 6 off I-95 inches Norwalk. $89 a night. I could afford 5 nights if I didn't eat. The room smelled like bleach and regret. The comforter had a burn hole. The shower made a sound like a dying animal when I turned it on. I sat on the edge of the bed and looked at my suitcase, and I thought about Vanessa's words. A daughter-in-law who can't even care for her own mother-in-law doesn't deserve to be in this family. Then I thought, maybe they're right. Maybe I don't deserve to be in a family that would throw someone away like trash. You're not done yet, I whispered to the water-stained ceiling. I had 5 days to figure out the rest of my life. Day 1, I ate a protein bar for breakfast and walked to the library. Free Wi-Fi. I updated my resume, applied to 12 dental offices, researched women's shelters. Day 2, I bought a burner phone at a gas station for $30. My old phone was on Michael's plan. I didn't want them tracking me. Day 3. I got a call back. A dental practice in Bridgeport needed a hygienist immediately. Someone had quit without notice. Could I start Monday? Yes, I said. Absolutely yes. The pay was less than my old job. The office was in a strip mall between a check cashing place and a pizza shop that had been closed by the health department. But it was work. It was mine. I found a room for rent in a house in Bridgeport. $450 a month, shared bathroom, no kitchen access except a mini fridge in my room. The landlord was a woman named Rosa who worked nights at a hospital. First and last month, plus deposit, she said. And I check references. I gave her my new boss's number. He vouched for me. I paid her $1,350, everything I had left after the motel and food. I moved in with my suitcase and a bag of groceries from the dollar store. The room was 10 by 12 feet. There was a twin bed, a dresser with a broken drawer, and a window that looked out at a parking lot. I sat on the bed and I cried. Not because I missed Michael, not because I missed the big house or the family dinners. I cried because I was 39 years old and I was starting over with nothing. But then I stopped crying. And I made a plan. I worked 6 days a week at the dental office. I was good at my job. Patients requested me specifically. I started thinking about why. I was good at explaining procedures, at making nervous patients feel comfortable, at catching problems early. I understood care. Real care. Not the performative kind Vanessa and James had demanded. The kind that actually helped people. I started researching senior care in Connecticut. I found that most families were like mine had been, struggling to figure out what to do when a parent got sick. Nursing homes were expensive and often depressing. Home care was expensive and hard to coordinate. There was a gap in the market for someone who could help families navigate the system, who understood both the medical side and the emotional side. At night, after my shifts, I took free online courses. Geriatric care management. Medical terminology I didn't already know. Healthcare navigation. I studied on my phone in my tiny room, sitting on my bed with a heating pad because Rosa kept the heat at 65 to save money. 6 months in, I took my first consulting client. She was a patient at the dental office, a woman in her 60s whose mother had just been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I don't know where to start, she told me after her cleaning. I don't know what questions to ask. I can help you, I said. I've been through this. I charged her $50 for 2 hours of consulting. I helped her research facilities, explained what questions to ask during tours, reviewed contracts with her. She cried and hugged me when her mother moved into a place that actually felt like home. You should do this professionally, she said. I'm not certified, I said. Then get certified. I found a program. Aging Life Care Professional Certification. It cost $3,000 I didn't have. I ate rice and beans for 3 months and saved every extra dollar. I took the course online over 6 months while working full-time. I passed the exam on my first try. I started my business with a website I built myself on a free platform and business cards I printed at Staples. Rebecca Morrison, Aging Life Care Professional, helping families navigate senior care with compassion and expertise. The first year, I made $8,000 in consulting fees. It wasn't much, but it was mine. The second year, I made $30,000. I hired a part-time assistant. I started giving free workshops at senior centers and libraries. I wrote articles for local parenting blogs about the sandwich generation, people caught between raising kids and caring for aging parents. The third year, I made $75,000. I quit the dental office. I rented a small office space. I hired 2 more consultants. We specialized in complex cases, families with difficult dynamics, situations where medical needs intersected with family drama. I was good at it because I'd lived it. That was the year I met Daniel. He came to one of my workshops. He was a lawyer specializing in elder law, and he was looking for someone to refer clients to when they needed care navigation. You're really good at this, he said after my presentation on how to talk to resistant parents about moving to assisted living. Thank you, I said. Would you want to grab coffee? I have some questions about how we might collaborate. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into a weekend trip to the Berkshires. 6 months later, he asked me to move in with him. I know you've been burned before, he said, but I'm not asking you to give anything up. I'm asking you to build something with me. His apartment was in New Haven, near his office. It had a real kitchen. A bedroom with a door that closed. Heat that worked. I can't believe this is my life now, I said the first night I slept there. You built this life, he said. I'm just lucky enough to be in it. Year 4, my business brought in $200,000. I had 6 employees. We'd helped over 300 families. I was writing a book about senior care navigation. Daniel proposed on a beach in Rhode Island. I said yes. This time there was no prenup. He wouldn't hear of it. What's mine is yours, he said. That's what marriage means. Year 5 changed everything. I got a call from a potential client. The voice was familiar, but I couldn't place it. Is this Rebecca Morrison? Yes, this is Rebecca. It's James. James Whitmore, my former brother-in-law. I almost hung up. What do you want, James? I need your help. His voice cracked. It's Mom. She's gotten really bad. We can't. We don't know what to do. There are hundreds of care managers in Connecticut. Call someone else. You're the best. Everyone says so. Please, Rebecca. I know how we treated you. But she's still my mother. I should have said no. I should have hung up. But I thought about Patricia, lost in her own mind, and I thought about the woman I'd become. Someone who helped people even when they didn't deserve it. I'll send you my rate sheet, I said. Standard consultation is $500 for 2 hours. We can do a virtual meeting first. That's fine. Whatever you charge. We met via Zoom 2 days later. James looked exhausted. Vanessa was there too, her perfect hair slightly less perfect. Mom's in a nursing home in Stamford, Vanessa said. She doesn't know us anymore. The place is costing $18,000 a month and they're not even. She's not happy. What does her care plan look like? I asked. They didn't have one. Not really. They just moved her to the most expensive place they could find and hoped it would be enough. I spent 3 hours reviewing Patricia's medical records, talking to her doctors, researching specialized memory care facilities. I found a place in Massachusetts that specialized in advanced Alzheimer's, with a program that used music therapy and sensory engagement. It cost less than where she was, and the outcomes were significantly better. This is what I recommend, I said, sending them the report. Vanessa looked at the numbers. We can't afford this. The place in Massachusetts is actually 30% cheaper than where she is now. That's not the problem. James looked at his hands. We've had some financial setbacks. The house in Westport. We're behind on the mortgage. The family trust isn't liquid enough to cover both. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. The house is in foreclosure? Not yet. But probably soon. That house. The one they'd kicked me out of. The one they'd said was too important to sell. The symbol of the family legacy. I'm sorry to hear that, I said. And I was. Not for them. For Patricia, who deserved better than children who'd let her home go because they'd mismanaged the family money. After we hung up, I sat at my desk for a long time. Then I called my real estate investor friend, Marcus, who I'd met through Daniel. Marcus, hypothetically, if a property in Westport was about to go into foreclosure, how would someone buy it? You looking to invest? Maybe. I'd need to see the details. But if you're serious, move fast. Foreclosures in that area don't last. I pulled up the public records. The Whitmore house. 3 months behind on a $2 million mortgage. The family trust had taken out a loan against it 5 years ago. They'd leveraged everything. I showed Daniel that night. You want to buy your ex-husband's house? He asked. Not to live in. As an investment. Or maybe. An idea was forming. What if we turned it into something else? Like what? A senior living facility. Small, boutique, specialized memory care. The kind of place Patricia should be in. Daniel looked at the numbers. It could work. But Becca, are you sure? This family put you through hell. This isn't about them. It's about building something good. Something that actually helps people. And yes, maybe there's some poetic justice in it. We put in an offer through an LLC. The bank accepted. 30 days later, we owned the house. I hired architects, contractors. We converted the Whitmore mansion into Meadowbrook Memory Care, a 12-bed assisted living facility specializing in Alzheimer's and dementia. We kept the beautiful original features, the crown molding and hardwood floors, but added safety features. Specialized lighting, a sensory garden in the back. We hired the best care staff in the state. We opened 6 months later. Within 2 weeks, we were fully booked. And then I got another call from James. Mom needs to move. The place in Massachusetts isn't working out. I heard about a new facility in Westport, Meadowbrook something. Do you know anything about it? I own it, I said. Silence. You? Own it? My husband and I bought the house last year. We converted it. We're specialized memory care. And yes, we have one spot available. But James, I need to be clear. If your mother becomes a resident, she's my client. Not your mother. Not Patricia Whitmore who judged me. A woman who deserves excellent care. That's the only way this works. We can't afford it, he said quietly. We can barely afford where she is now. I know. I've reviewed her finances. But we offer a sliding scale for families in need. I can make it work. Another silence. Why would you do this? Because it's the right thing to do. And because I'm not the person you all thought I was. I never was. Patricia moved in 2 weeks later. I wasn't there the day she arrived. I'd assigned one of my best care managers to oversee her transition. I'd written detailed notes about what music she liked, what foods she'd enjoyed before the disease took those memories. I'd made sure her room had photos of her late husband, of her children when they were young. But I made sure I was there the night of the grand opening celebration. We'd planned it to coincide with Patricia's 75th birthday. We invited families of residents, local community members, professionals in the elder care field. Daniel and I stood at the entrance, greeting guests. I wore a navy dress, simple but elegant. Daniel was in a suit. We looked successful because we were. I saw them arrive. Michael first alone. Then Vanessa and Preston. Then James and his wife. They stopped when they saw me. Saw the sign, Meadowbrook Memory Care, founded by Rebecca Morrison, ALCP. Saw the house they'd lost, transformed into something beautiful. Saw me, not broken, not bitter but thriving. Michael's face went pale. Vanessa grabbed Preston's arm for support. James just stared. I walked over. Thank you for coming, I said. Professional, warm. Your mother is doing wonderfully. She's in the sunroom if you'd like to see her. Third door on the right. You bought our house, Vanessa whispered. I bought a foreclosed property and turned it into something that helps people. Including your mother. She's getting better care here than she's had in years. This is... Michael started, but didn't finish. This is my business, I said. This is what I built after you all decided I wasn't family enough. Turns out I didn't need to be your family. I needed to be myself. Daniel appeared at my side, handed me a glass of champagne. Everything okay here? Everything's perfect, I said. I looked at Michael, at Vanessa, at James. Your mother's in good hands. The best hands. That's all that matters now. I walked away. I didn't need to say anything else. The house said it for me. My success said it for me. The fact that I was helping their mother when they couldn't. That said everything. Later that night, after the guests had left, Daniel and I stood in what used to be the formal dining room where they'd told me I wasn't good enough. It was now a beautiful common area where residents gathered for activities. How do you feel? Daniel asked. I feel free, I said. For 5 years, I carried around this weight, this question of whether they were right about me. Whether I was selfish. Whether I should have given up everything to be who they wanted me to be. And now? Now I know the truth. I wasn't selfish. I was self-preserving. There's a difference. And I built something real, something good, from the ashes of what they threw away. I looked around the room. At the place I'd been rejected from, now filled with purpose. At the life I'd built not in spite of what they'd done to me, but because of what I'd done for myself. A daughter-in-law who can't even care for her own mother-in-law doesn't deserve to be in this family, Vanessa had said. She was right, in a way. I didn't deserve to be in that family. I deserved so much better. And I built it.